Hey everybody, and welcome back to Tenza Motorsports. Today we are swapping out our fuel cell once again, and I'll get into the details in just a moment. Before we get into that, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, like if you enjoy this type of content. Also make sure to be following us on Instagram, Tenza_Motorsports. Also make sure you are following us on the Instagram for this car, which is Nikki_Nightmare46. This fuel cell was sent to us by Evil Energy, and the reason that we are going from one fuel cell to a different brand of fuel cell is because I cannot get the one that we ordered from Jegs to stop leaking. Now, I didn't mention Jegs when we first got the fuel cell because honestly, they didn't help me out. And if you want me to talk about you, basically, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. And they didn't want to work with me at all. But I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go with an actual reputable company. And unfortunately, that has just caused me issues. So what's been going on is the little caps that are at the bottom of the fuel cell leak. So I've had experience with one that was now over $200, well over $200, and now one that is well under $150. I'll have the link to this one in the description below. I have had many parts from Evil Energy that I didn't actually really know them beforehand. I just was buying some of the AN fitting adapters and stuff like that. I'd just been purchasing off of Amazon. And they'd worked really well, and I reached out to them and said basically, hey, can you help me out? I'm working with this other company. They keep talking to me like I'm an idiot. Oh, what, did you use it? Did you tighten it up? It's like, yeah, I tightened it up all the way. So I'm not sure what's going on, but there's two ports at the bottom of these fuel cells, and you only need to use one, and the other one just needs to be capped off. And I have tried everything to try to get this one to stop leaking, and it's dangerous to have fuel and fumes sitting inside your car. That fuel cell sits right over the exhaust, and so where it's leaking down in that little cubby, there's a little drain hole underneath there, and I'm sure that it's dripping either next to or on the exhaust. It's unbelievably dangerous. That's why this car hasn't been driven much on our channel, is just I can't get it to stop. And the only reason that we've been able to drive it as little as we have is because we basically just put rags underneath it so that as it slowly drips, it goes away. So I don't want to talk about their stuff. I want to talk about Evil Energy. This is their fuel cell. This is another 10 gallons, so same one. I really wanted to put one in my race car, the white one, and unfortunately we're having to play with this car again. So maybe in the future we can work again with Evil Energy and get ourselves a fuel cell and a fuel pump and a regulator and get the white race car done, considering it should be just a quick undo all the fittings on the other one, pull it out, slap this one in, and as long as we're not spilling gas everywhere, then we shouldn't have any problems. So we'll just do a quick little unboxing here. This should basically just have the fuel cell and then the two AN10 caps on it. Something that I have learned doing this process is that you'll need to memorize and know what all the AN fittings are. All right, well, right off the bat, you have your sender here, which is nice because it's already wired. The other one is not like that. And then your cap should work in a very similar manner. So pull up on it, twist it. There you go. It's already got the foam in it. This keeps your fuel from sloshing around. And then let's get this out and take a look at the rest of it. All right, so here is the fuel cell out of the box. So you'll have your two lines here. This is your vent hose, and then your other is your return. And then these fittings down here is what I was fighting on the other fuel cell. So you do not have to have both of these on there. You only need to have one. So we'll be removing one, and then the fuel pump pulls from here, and this one stays capped off. This one here on the other fuel cell leaks. And it leaks, and it leaks, and it leaks, and no matter how tight you do it, no matter which one you use, nothing will stop it from leaking, and it's just getting all over inside the car. So already this has very, very, very similar look and feel to it. Honestly, when it comes to the fuel cells, I was told this by actually my connection over ECS Tuning, because they don't do any fuel cells. I went to them first and talked to them. They said that when it comes to the fuel cells, there's really no difference, and you can buy the cheap ones and not worry about it. The only reason I went to Jegs in the first place is because I wanted to go through a larger company because I thought that'd be more insurance on parts quality. And honestly, I don't see the difference here. This feels just as nice. The welds look just as good. I like the paint. The paint is nice and uniform. The other one's bare aluminum, which is fine, but even these pieces here, nothing feels any less genuine than an expensive fuel cell. Evil Energy is where I go to now every single time I'm looking for parts. I'll go straight to their store on Amazon, and then I'll start looking for parts from there. So let's go pull the other tank out and slap this one in. I'm really excited not to have any more fuel leaks. I have made a few modifications to try to get it to stop leaking. So I did an AN10. This came off of our catch can kit that we bought, and then I put a line on the end of it. I've tried this one here where I basically put a bolt at the end of a fuel line and it stuck that on there and tried to get it to stay. And nothing I do can get this to stop leaking. Absolutely nothing. It was driving me absolutely nuts. And so that's why we are here today with a new fuel cell. So we're gonna get this one removed. We'll get that packaged back up and sent back to Jegs. They have not been super helpful. They're extremely difficult to get a hold of. I would not recommend going with these guys. And as you can see here, there's really little to no difference. They are roughly the same physical outside shape, and they should basically run the exact same way. As long as this doesn't leak, there should be no issues. And I'm gonna be honest with my reviews. I know that Evil Energy helped me out with this fuel cell, but if it leaks, I'm gonna say the same thing. And I've mentioned this tank in several other videos because this is actually the second tank that I've gotten from these guys. They sent me a new one and it still leaks. So I'll be brutally honest. I'm not sure why there's two, except for if you're running like 2 fuel pumps, a big V8 or V10 or something, but it is kind of silly that I'm having to fight this over something that shouldn't even exist. It's just a cap. Now that I have that one all unplugged and drained out, we're gonna be putting this one in. It should be fairly easy to just kind of pop in there. I don't actually have to bolt it down. The only real big difference between these two tanks is that the fuel level sender on this one is slightly different. You actually spin off the connectors, and on this one it's got a plug. I'm not sure what plug this is supposed to go into, but we're just gonna cut it and go to the wiring harness that I've already brought back there. I've got about a half a gallon of gas in there. Now these AN lines, I am not doing super tight. If you put on a pair of gloves and you grab that cap by hand and went and spun it, you could almost get it off. Because if you go too tight, you can, well, two things, you can actually end up damaging the line, the connector, and the other thing is that it'll actually start leaking more. So there is a sweet spot, not too loose, not too tight. I'm not gonna say anything quite just yet, but doesn't look like it's leaking to me. The other one was fairly obvious. I mean, it started dripping pretty quickly. So yeah, there, I don't have anything on my finger. Look at that. I don't know why that's so difficult for this other fuel cell that I've got. Again, big thanks to Evil Energy. Everything that we use tonight will be linked in the description below. And I will also link, I'll basically link the entire fuel system. So from the fuel cell all the way up to the front of the car, I'll have everything that we used linked in the description. Please, everybody, be super careful. I know that it's just kind of the standard things. Oh, I'll just go to the brand name companies, and that's not always the best option, as I have learned, and I'm about to pay to learn again, sending that other one back. Hopefully they don't charge me too much to get it sent back. But anyways, thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Bam!